He says, "Dear fellow believers, please understand that we are not under the law." And then he cites a significant amount of scriptures from Romans. Now, let's stop right there for a second. I completely agree with Jim Bob on this. We are not under the law. I think that many within the mainstream Christian movement, though, however, they have not understood what it means to be under the law. What does it mean to be under the law as opposed to not under the law? And this is where I think there's a lot of confusion. So I agree completely with Jim Bob. We're not under the law. But how I understand this is in the context of how Paul uses it, which means under the condemnation of the law. As being freed from sin through Christ and the Holy Spirit, we are not under the condemnation of the law. Many people believe that the term under the law means having to keep the law. We certainly keep the covenant stipulations. And we know this from the apostolic scriptures, from the apostles, from the writer, from Paul, right? From John. Sin is lawlessness, right? So the point is that we have to understand how under the law is being used. I completely agree with Jim Bob that we are not under the law. As believers, we have come out from the condemnation of the law.
But would he explain it the same way I agree with you. I think you did a great job. You could preach on that, Caleb.
Oh, thank you.
I was hoping you were just going to stand up and start. No, do you think I get a sense that he doesn't mean it the same way.
Well, maybe we should continue. Read the following comment, and this is why I think you might be right. He says this, he says, "Please remember that whoever observes the day observes it to the Lord." Romans 14:5. Now, let's go to Romans 14.
Is he going to go King James on us here?
I don't know. I'm not, though. I'm going to stick with the ESV on this one. Let's start in verse 1. "As for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions. One person believes he may eat anything, while the weak person eats only vegetables." Okay, so we actually touched on this a couple weeks ago. And remember, I said that initially I had believed that this was talking about fast days, but the fact that he says, while the weak person eats only vegetables. My father has taught on Romans. He has a complete Romans commentary. He also has an entire 99 audio and video. I think there's video too, teaching through Romans. In both of those, he describes his view on this, and his view on this, which he has won me over to, is that the dispute is actually over meat that was sold in the marketplace, and the fact that the meat that was sold in the marketplace was inevitably offered to a pagan deity. And so Paul is now talking to the Romans about whether or not they should eat this meat. Some people say, no, it was offered to a false god. We can't eat it. And Paul seems to think you can eat it as long as you don't participate in the ritual sacrifice itself. In other words, I'm not participating in the paganism, but the meat, it's offered to nothing. It's just meat. Don't worry about it. And one person says, I can eat the meat, while the other person says, I can eat only vegetables. Many people have used this text to say, see, we can eat, we don't have to keep the kosher laws. Clearly, Paul is not referring to the kosher laws here. 14:3, "Let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains, and let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats, for God has welcomed him. Who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It is before his own master that he stands or falls, and he will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make him stand. One person esteems one day as better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind." Now, this in my mind may be a shift to, he's still talking about food, in my opinion. He might be now shifting towards fast days. "The one who observes the day observes it in honor of the Lord. The one who eats in honor of the Lord, since he gives thanks to God, while the one who abstains in honor of the Lord and gives thanks to God. For none of us lives to himself, and none of us dies to himself." Let's stop for now. Okay, so I think that he has gone from meat in the market to fast days. I don't think that he's talking about Sabbaths, and I don't think that he's talking about festivals. Rob?
I think he's talking about meat in the marketplace here. I mean, but the versus people who are eating vegetables they're suspicious of the meat. That's the point. They're coming and they're seeing meat on the table, and they're suspicious of it.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.